We are 3 shows into the New Japan Best of the Super Juniors and World Tag League tournaments here. I'm just going to keep it simple and call it night 1, 2, and 3, even though they're alternating back and forth. So we don't have like night 1 and then night 2 of Best of the Super Juniors, and then night 2 of. So we're just going straight through.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Yeah. I already can't follow I don't know what show this is that you're reviewing here. So we're just going to do day 1, 2, 3.
Interesting, we already had a champion lose their first match, so we already have kind of an outlook of what the title situation might be going into 2021 already. And after the G1, some of these matches have been pretty lackluster. I think the first night was probably the worst because they did pack 10 matches into a 3-hour show. So they had a lot of short matches. Nothing went really long. Night 2 barely made it to 2 hours with the 6 matches they had on the card. Same with night 3. Night 3, I think, ended at like 150 or so, an hour 50. So, yeah, it's been a little rough going. I think some of the matches have been pretty good. Some outstanding performances. Desperado in particular, I thought had a very good match with both Taguchi and with Hiromu.
Yeah, I really like the Hiromu match, man. Desperado was a guy, I think I wrote in my notes somewhere, he was a guy that I was not a fan of for the longest time, but like the past, he's one of those guys that's really started growing on me. Maybe in like the past year, I think it was since he started teaming with Kanemaru and like because I love Kanemaru and I think some of that rubbed off on him and he's learned a lot from him. But yeah, Despy's looking great.
Yeah, I had the same thing. Like, I was never really a fan of Desperado, and then it just has started to click, and now I'm kind of becoming a fan of his, and the work he did with Hiromu was excellent. And yeah, I mean, we could be seeing him moving up in the junior division world and maybe even getting a title shot. Who knows? We might even see a title run at some point with El Desperado. He's higher in age than some of the guys. He's 36, I believe, so he's a little higher on the spectrum, but still within reason.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Like, I wasn't a fan of him like post excursion, but I always have a soft spot for the guys who I watched debut. And like, I remember when Kyosuke Mikami debuted in like 2006. So like, I'm glad that he's finally, wrestling at a level suited to a New Japan Trueborn Junior Heavyweight.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Welcome to That's Wrestling. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to be covering New Japan Night 1, 2, and 3 of the Best of the Super Juniors World Tag League combined back and forth every other day tournament. And if you have any comments, questions, or feedback, you can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on YouTube. So click the link in the show notes, head over there, and if you hit the bell notification after you subscribe, it will let you know when we schedule these shows. Especially with New Japan, it moves around all the time. I didn't schedule this until this morning, so it's one of those things. You'd be alerted and you would know that this show is going on. Also, there's a Discord. You can come hang out. The link is in the show notes in the description. And tonight I have Trae Wisecarver back with me again. How's it going? How's your weekend been, at least?
I'm usually someone who can complain about anything, and I don't have too much to complain about. I don't know, man. I've been kind of getting my stuff together lately, so maybe life is I'm starting to dig myself out of the rough patch that I've been in for 6-7 years now.
Winter seems to do that to me, which is strange because everybody gets depressed in the winter, but winter seems to perk me up. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife a few minutes ago. She was talking about like the pandemic has made her more depressed, like most people. And I'm like, I'm one of the minority of people that like this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I never want to go anywhere anyway.
Yeah, I'm a total shut-in. If I didn't have to leave my house, I wouldn't. All right, so let's kick it off here. We had night one, which was a combined card of the World Tag League and Best of the Super Juniors. As I mentioned, they had 10 matches, so it was just block matches on each. Both tournaments are being run as a round robin single block. So there's 10 teams and there's 10 competitors in Best of the Super Juniors. So that is it for the block. Normally there's 2 blocks for Best of the Super Juniors. World Tag League seems to go back and forth between 1 block or 2 blocks of a bazillion people.
Jesus, I was looking at the results from last year's World Tag League just to see, and they did 1 block of like 16 teams. Oh my god, I remember vaguely like people cracking about it last year. I typically like in the past haven't always watched the Tag League because a lot of it is kind of middling. But now that we're doing the podcast, I have to watch every show, and I just realized one of the silver linings. I never feel like I get to watch enough New Japan during the year. I never feel like I get to see everything I want. I have seen every single show that has aired on New Japan World since they came back from the pandemic.
I've skipped some of the road twos and only picking up like any title matches or anything. Though I'd sometimes fast forward and maybe I'd see like, oh, Naito and Sanada against so and so. So I might stop at that. That might be the semi main. So.
We gotta get you to watch New Japan Strong one of these days.
I know. I watched the first. What was it? The Lions Break or Lions Collision?
Yeah,
or something?
Lions Break Collision.
Yeah, so I watched those.
I had a Rocky Romero Jay White singles match a couple of weeks ago that was really good, and then I think this past week, which I haven't watched yet, is Kenta and David Finlay for the briefcase because I think they taped ahead a lot.
They did. They taped a ton.
Yeah.
I think they taped through the end of the year, so.
Looks like it.
We start off night one, November 15th, 2020 in Nagoya, and Kevin Kelly and Gino Gambino are on commentary. And I wrote here, Gino needs a better audio setup because Kevin Kelly just uses the Blue Yeti, which is exactly the same microphone as I am using, and they're only $100. And then the next night, Gino had significantly better audio, so they fixed whatever the problem was after the first night. So one thing I noticed just looking at the tag league, I hadn't looked at the competitors or the blocks that closely, I guess it's really just the competitors that closely before this night, and I realized there are 3 Bullet Club teams in this tag league out of the 10 teams that are in there. So 3 of the 10 are Bullet Club, and then I think there's 2 Chaos in there as well. So it's going
Chaos, to be an Empire, an LIJ, a Suzuki-gun,
and then nothing.
A couple of Hontai teams.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, especially seeing the matchups between the Bullet Club. I think that's where we're going to have the most spark compared to when the Chaos teams go at each other. That's probably not going to be the largest event. So we kick it off with Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale teaming up against Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano. Nice to see Chase Owens back in New Japan. He looks pretty good. This match, though, was nothing special, I don't think. It was a fine back and forth. It was a pretty short match, and they finished with how it ended up finishing. Fale had picked up Yano, and Ishii kind of pushed him over, and Yano landed on top of Fale. And Chase was going to try to break up the pin with a splash, but Yano moved out of the way, and Chase splashed Fale, and then Yano just got on top of Chase, who was also on top of Fale, and pinned Fale with a Chase sandwich.
Yeah, Chase has been having good matches on this tour. Unfortunately, this wasn't one of them. I just wrote another Yano match with a silly finish.
Yeah.
Star and a half.
That was about it. But we have Tomohiro, Ishii, and Yano picking up their 2 points here. And next up, we had Yuya Uemura versus Master Wato. Uemura is in because Yoshinobu Kanemaru was injured, so he was not able.
Breaks my heart.
Yes.
Breaks my heart, but I'm happy to see Uemura get this shot. Man, he's so good. He's so good.
Yes, so he is the only young lion in the tournament. There weren't going to be any young lions in the tournament this year until the injury happened and Uemura stepped in. Uemura was he ran in like a crazy man, and he hits a drop kick on Master Wato, gets on the full crab right away, and keeps dragging Wato into the middle to keep him from getting to the ropes. But eventually he does. Wato hits a bunch of kicks. Uemura goes for the double overhook suplex, but Wato hits a high angle body slam. I don't even know what to call it. It was kind of like a Falcon Arrow with no sit out. It's kind of weird. And he got the 3. Yes.
Okay, so you didn't catch it either. I was so disappointed because Kevin Kelly also didn't get it. Was the TTD.
Oh, okay.
The Tenzin Tombstone Driver. I guess I was the only one that caught that.
I guess, because I had not seen that move before, so.
Yeah, that is the Tenzin Tombstone Driver.
Okay. But this match was fine. Uemura looked fine. You knew he was going to take the loss. Wato has been looking a little better in this match, and the match he had on night 3. I think it looked better, but still not good doing it for me.
The match with Robbie Eagles on night 3 was really good, I thought.
Yes, it was a lot better. So then we have the surprise of the evening, which this has been rumored to be going on. So we have the Great Okan was going to have a mystery opponent, and we now know who that is. And that is what?
Mystery partner.
Yes, sir. What'd I say? Opponent?
Opponent.
Oh, yeah. A mystery partner. And that is Jeff Cobb. So Jeff Cobb looks like he has joined the Empire. This had been rumored that he was going to be moving into the Empire anyways, and it was actually originally the Great Okan spot until Khan came back. So now we have a addition to the Empire. They take on the team of Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toa Henare, and good to see Toa back as well. We haven't seen him for quite some time over in New Japan. What has he been on Strong?
No, it's not. He lives in like New Zealand, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which Jay White was on New Japan Strong, but yeah, I don't know. He's really good, and I was glad to see him back. And Tanahashi and Henare Ace.
Henare Ace? Is that what we're
Henare
calling
Ace. Yeah, that's what Kevin Kelly keeps calling them, Henare Ace.
All right, and right off the bat, I have to say, thank God Great Okan changed up his ring gear from the MC Hammer pants. So he
looked better.
Yes, he looked better. He didn't look as goofy of a cosplayer now. He has some normal trunks just with some design on it. Significantly better. And this match did not last very long at all. Khan and Cobb pretty much destroyed Henare, and Khan hit a bunch of kicks, and then Cobb hit Tour of the Islands and gets the win. 2 minutes and 28 seconds. The team of Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toa Henare go down in 2 minutes and 28 seconds to this team. After the match, Khan works on destroying Tanahashi's knee with a leg lock and then smashes it with a chair as well. So looks like they're giving Tanahashi a huge handicap right at the beginning of this tournament.
Shortest block match in World Tag League history, apparently. 2 minutes, 28 seconds.
Well, alrighty. That's surprising given the team I was against.
Yeah, they went after Tanahashi's knee. Tanahashi's knee is going to be in for a rough tour, like always. And yeah, just a complete one-sided route by the Empire team. Love Jeff Cobb, man. I've been saying he needs a mean streak, and he's been wrestling with a mean streak on this tour. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, Cobb's really good playing a heel, I think. So just because he's a big guy, I think it plays off better. But of course, he's really athletic for his size as well. You know, he's like a guy he's kind of like the New Japan version of Brian Cage at this point, where he's a big guy, but he can do the flying head scissors and a standing moonsault whenever he feels like it. And he's just fine.
He's awesome.
So what do you think about Jeff Cobb joining the Empire?
That's fine. I mean, I had proposed recently him joining Suzuki-gun, which this I think this accomplished the same thing that I wanted that to accomplish, which has got him on the heel side wrestling with a mean streak, and he's better than the Great Okan, so he makes the matches better. And I'm just. Man, the G1 like made me a huge Jeff Cobb fan, and then I've been really digging him on this tour as well. It seems like I don't know, like Kevin Kelly keeps saying, man, we need an explanation. And I think, and I proposed this to Kevin on Twitter, and he said he thought about that as well. I think it's just the sheer shame of being the only one who lost to Yujiro in the G1.
Yeah, that could be it. That would be interesting. So I'm curious what we hear from him. And then the next match we have is Douki versus Robbie Eagles. Again, great to see Robbie Eagles back. Bummer that Birds of Prey are now no longer, as Eagles looks like he's going to be sticking with Chaos, at least for now. We will see how that continues to play out. He's already burned Bullet Club. I don't think he's going to burn another faction in such short amount of time.
And I hope we at some point get Hill Will Ospreay against Babyface Robbie Eagles. That sounds like a phenomenal match.
So Eagles actually takes control right away. Eagles goes for the top rope. Douki throws the ref hard into the ropes and knocks Eagles off. Not sure how this is not a DQ, because he just like whipped he like tossed the ref super hard. It wasn't just like a little shove, it was like a full-on throw into the ropes. On the outside, Douki runs Eagle into the barricade. He pushes the ref again, gives Eagles a neckbreaker with the pipe that he had brought down to the ring. Eagles makes a comeback with a sliding elbow to the back of the head, then a springboard missile drop kick to the leg, some kicks to the chest, then a running knee for a 2 count. He hits the double knees in the corner. Eagles goes for the 450, but Douki catches him in the Italian stretch. Eagles gets out to the ropes for that. Douki avoids a turbo backpack. Eagle hits a bunch of kicks. Douki hits a lariat for a double down, and then once they get back up, Douki hits a slingshot DDT for 2. They go back and forth with some pin attempts. Eagle hits the turbo backpack, 450 splash to the knee, and then locks on the Ron Miller special and gets the tap out victory. Robbie Eagles looked really good. Did he get some new ink? I can't tell. I think he got some new ink on his arm. I can't tell.
Yeah, Douki is another guy who's starting to grow on me. It is just, it was probably, you know, the Never 6-man match where he was awesome, and he's had his work boots on this tour. I thought this match greatly exceeded expectations. Definitely the best Douki match I have ever seen up to that point. Best Douki singles match.
Right.
Yeah, this was really good. Like, surprisingly so.
Yeah, this Best of the Super Juniors block is right after the first night already has some shakeups, and I'm curious how this all plays out in the end. I think one of my favorites is has 4 points at the end of the first 2 nights, so we'll talk about him in a little bit. Next up, we had Yoshi-Hashi and Hirooki Goto versus the Dangerous Techers, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr., who are the current tag team champions. So right here I wrote, okay, the refs in New Japan are so useless. Taichi's choking Goto with his hand. The ref starts counting and he just goes to 4, but Taichi didn't break the choke. And he counts to 4 like 3 more times, and he's still holding the choke, and Taichi's just like throwing up his other hand but maintaining the choke with the other hand. It's like, these refs are so incompetent.
And it's those poor referees. They're made to look so stupid. That's like my least favorite thing about New Japan.
I know, it's like if I was a ref, I'd be like, if you guys do something that's DQ worthy, I'm just gonna DQ you because you make me look like an idiot, and it gives no credibility to the refs. So now if people cheat, it means nothing because they're not gonna get in trouble even if they do it in front of the ref anyways. Go for it.
Taichi, after working his ass off in the G1, was back to being just Taichi here.
Pretty much.
Still trying.
Yeah.
The match was good when Zack was in.
With what?
The match was good when Zack was in.
Yes. So Taichi goes back to choking Goto some more in front of the ref 4 more times in a row. I think I've mentioned this before. If in UFC you knee the dude in the balls 4 times in a row, the ref is going to DQ you. That's not an accident at this point. And this was like directly 4 times in a row. If you keep doing the infraction, you should get DQ'd for that. Yoshi-Hashi gets a tag, runs wild, hits a ton of strikes on Taichi. Drop kick to the back of the head for a 2 count. All 4 guys end up fighting it out in a big brawl for a bit. And then Zack eventually actually rolls up Yoshi-Hashi to get the 3 count. So no big finish here. And it's just a roll-up victory from Zack over Yoshi-Hashi.
Yeah. So it was, good when Zack was in there being Zack. Yoshi-Hashi still working hard. Goto's Goto. Taichi, this is his worst match of the tournament so far. He's picked it up on subsequent nights, but I was just like, man, you worked so hard in the G1, and now you're just doing your Taichi bullshit again.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, they did not give them much time either. All these matches were relatively short, most of them under 10 minutes. I think.
Well, this one got 10.5 minutes.
So, yeah, so this one barely made it over the 10-minute mark. Most of them did not. So, yeah. Next up, we have Bushi and Sho. And Bushi takes control early, works on Sho a bit on the outside. Bushi cuts off a short comeback. They just go back and forth. Sho attempts an armbar but has to let it go. Hits a deadlift German, last ride power breaker for a 2 count, and then hits Bushi with a shock arrow and gets the victory. So Sho picks up the first 2 points here, and I have him kind of at my top of the list of possible winners of this tournament.
I'm still like 99% certain that Hiromu was winning, but I still think Sho's has a good shot of making the finals.
Well, after the match with Hiromu, how that one ended, that kind of bumped me down on him needing to win the tournament. So.
This was where I started really feeling the difference in match quality between the 2 tournaments. I started feeling like the juniors are really going to make this tag tournament look like shit this year.
The juniors are going to do pretty well, I think. The World Tag League is kind of light, though we're going to see some decent matchups, I think.
It gets better.
It does get better. It does get better, especially on this first night. This
was the weakest night of the tag league.
Yes. So far. Though there was one good match, and we'll talk. We haven't gotten to it yet. Next up, we have Evil and Yujiro Takahashi versus Shingo Takagi and Sanada. So Sanada has a new partner in Shingo Takagi, facing his old partner of Evil. Evil and Yujiro attack right away. Shingo pretty much is unfazed as he takes care of both guys, sending them out and then pairing off with Yujiro in the ring. On the outside, Evil runs Sanada into the barricade, knocks over the ring announcer table, and wipes out the announcer. The announcer is not going to have a good tournament, it seems, because Evil is taking him out like every single night. So he's having a rough one. Sanada gets knocked off the apron. He hits the barricade. The ring announcer goes flying again. And Sanada back in the ring. With Yujiro, and they bite each other to get out of various move attempts. Shingo beats the crap out of Yujiro for a bit. Yujiro comes back, hits a reverse DDT to finally get a tag out to Evil. Shingo blocks the ref-assisted thrust kick that Evil likes to do, hits a dragon screw instead. Evil and Yujiro hit stereo Fisherman Busters on the other team, and Evil hits a Darkness Falls on Sanada for 2. Then Dick Togo gets involved. He tries to choke Sanada with the garrote, and Evil gets run into Togo, knocked off the apron, but it doesn't really matter. We have basically the same finish that we see all the time. Evil then distracts the ref or causes the ref to turn their back, hits a low blow, hits everything as Evil on Sanada, picks up the victory, and I am really goddamn bored of this finish.
Yeah, I wrote here, we got more of the exact same bullshit we all got sick of in the G1.
Yes.
That is my review of this match. Shingo and Sanada are an awesome team, but just on the subsequent shows, not the show.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that these two would be like at the top of the pile at the end of this thing, and might be the ones, because they seem like the between. We have some decent teams in here, but really like the teams that I see as set teams, we have Finjuice, who they've been teaming, Gorillas of Destiny, and then Sanada and Shingo just feel like a team. Everybody else, not so much. Yeah,
and they, like, I knew, you just know that's an awesome team, and then they had to wrestle Evil and Yujiro here, so it was, a rough road, but like they've been really better in subsequent matches.
Yep. And then this is kind of the point where the night becomes a bit more bearable in watching. We have El Desperado versus Ryusuke Taguchi, and is this the first time we've seen Taguchi back?
I haven't missed him. Was he on the summer tour?
I can't remember.
He teamed with Master Wato in the junior heavyweight tag tournament.
Yes, you're right. But good to see Taguchi anyways in the Bested Super Juniors. He's always fun, and he worked his ass off in the following match, but on this match he worked quite well as well. Back and forth at the opening, Desperado hits a drop kick to the knee, wraps it against the post for a couple times for good measure. Desperado's finisher he likes to use is the numero dos, which is his version of the stretch muffler, so this would make sense. Back in the ring, hits a knee breaker, leg drop on the knee, then continues to work a leg lock. And then Taguchi lands on his feet out of a suplex, but his knee buckles, and Desperado counters 2 hip attacks into atomic drops, but he actually gets hit with a third one. Taguchi hits an over-the-top rope crossbody to the floor. Taguchi hits 3 amigos for a 2 count and goes straight to the ankle lock after the kick out. Desperado makes it to the ropes. Taguchi hits a facebuster, misses a bum-ie, and Desperado goes back to working on the knee, hits a dragon screw, puts on the numero dos, and Taguchi gets to the ropes to break the hold. And Taguchi drops Desperado with a drop kick, hits a bum-ie, and then Desperado grabs the ropes, grabs the rope for a 2 count, so he was pinned and he was close to the rope, so he grabbed that. They counter each other a bit. Taguchi hits a head kick, goes for a Dodon, but Desperado rolls through it. Taguchi counters the roll up and gets the pin. So we have Taguchi over Desperado here, picking up his first 2 points right on the first night.
Yeah, man, big match Taguchi in full effect. He's always been good, and he does a lot of comedy, but like he can turn it up several notches when he needs to, and he always works hard in these tournaments. And I'm always gonna love Taguchi because, like, when I started watching New Japan, like he was the young lion in the opening match, so I'm just always adored Ryusuke Taguchi. They wrestle hard, they worked a serious match, and I liked it a lot.
All right, cool. Hey, you're breaking up a little bit. If you want to drop and reconnect, and I'll continue on here and talk about the next match. Gorillas of Destiny face Finjuice, and Good to see both these teams back, and both of them work really well, keeping the tags going, keeping the freshmen in. Tama Tonga fully shaved face, cut his hair. He looks like 20 years younger, and it's kind of weird looking at him a little bit.
I've gotten used to it because this is New Japan Strong look, so I've grown accustomed to it. But it was very distracting the first couple of weeks.
All right, so it's probably going to be distracting for me for a couple shows. It's just really funny. He doesn't even look like himself almost. Like you just got to look at the eyes. That's the only thing that you can still tell it's him. And of course when you hear his voice as well. But so it's kind of funny. Tonga Loa hits a super butterfly suplex to Finlay. Both teams fight on the outside, with FinJuice getting the wrong side of it. God gets the heat on Finlay until Juice gets a hot tag, and he goes crazy, hits both guys, hits a cannonball in the corner to Tonga Loa. Juice fakes the left hand of God and hits a drop kick instead. Jado grabs Juice's leg, so he ends up eating a baseball slide from Juice. And Tonga Loa hits a desperation power slam, drags himself over to Tama Tonga to get the tag, and God hits the Tongan twist on Juice, and Finlay has to break up the count. He gets a Tonga twist himself, though. FinJuice hit a double flapjack and a drop kick leg sweep combo for a 2 count on Tama Tonga. God hits Magic Killer on Juice. He kicks out at 2. They want to hit the super power bomb, but Finlay comes in and hits a superplex on Tonga Loa. He reverses a gun stun into a backbreaker. Juice hits a left-handed God on Jado. Then FinJuice hits a Doomsday device and gets the victory. So FinJuice working on defending their title from last year and picking up the victory over Gorillas of Destiny.
Going back to when the Gorillas of Destiny were making their entrance, and Gino was talking about how great they look, and he's like, "Why can't I look like that?" And Kevin just goes, "I think it's genetics." And Gino just deadpan sadly goes, "I knew my mom should have married King Haku."
Yeah, that was great.
I have missed Gino. He's grown on me. Once I sit down and thought about it, I think God have a good shot at winning this year, because they've never won this despite being the top tag team in the company for several years now, and it's only the second time in like the last 5 years that they didn't go into the tournament as IWGP Tag Champions.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's like you remember that year that the Big Show won the Andre Battle Royal at WrestleMania. It was that's just a thing that needs to happen to establish that the Giant can win the Big Battle Royal. I think that God should win this tag league to sort of submit themselves. They've been tag champions 6, 7, 12 times. I think they need a World Tag League trophy.
That was one of the things. It's like, hey, Gorillas of Destiny are not tag champions going into this tournament, which they have been, like you said, quite a few times here. So, especially last year specifically. So, I'm curious. And how Goto does a lot of his booking. The winners end up dropping their first match of the tournament. So, we could see any of these people who've lost their first match going on to be the victors in the end.
And God and FinJuice, they've traded wins back and forth anyway. So it's FinJuice are a really good babyface team, and obviously the Gorillas are a really good heel team.
Yes.
This was very good.
Yes, this was an excellent match. This was really good. FinJuice work really well together. David Finlay is, I believe, one of the most underrated guys they have.
I'm starting to see this in the tournament, which I don't know why it surprises me, because his dad is like one of my favorite wrestlers ever. But he's looked really awesome this tour.
I mean, he's 4th generation.
Right, yeah.
So it's in his DNA to be good, and I would David Finlay's like one of those guys I would love to see over in AEW.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think, I don't know, why has he not been in the G1? He's a heavyweight, but he needs to be in the G1 next year.
He does.
After his performances the last on this tour so far, he needs to be in the G1 next year.
Yeah. And then next up we have Taiji Ishimori, the current junior heavyweight champion, versus Hiromu Takahashi, the former champion. They come out of the gates a million miles an hour here. This match basically was a sprint for 20 minutes, and Hiromu hits a shotgun drop kick off the apron, sending Ishimori into the barricade. Ishimori took a nasty fall after Hiromu punched him when it looked like he was going to go for a springboard, and Hiromu punched him. When he fell off the apron, one of his legs caught the edge of the apron, and he like went ass over tea kettle for that one. But he stood back up, so it looks like he was fine. But it looked nasty. Hiromu hits an apron bomb, or gets hit with an apron bomb. I think I have that backwards. They go back and forth, beating the crap out of each other with strikes and slams. Hiromu eats a poison Rana, and then Hiromu gives Ishimori an overhead release suplex into the turnbuckle, and Ishimori landed right on his head after hitting the turnbuckle. They fight for position on the apron until Ishimori hits Hiromu with a spike pile driver right on the edge of the apron. Hiromu catches Ishimori attempting a moonsault, gives him a Falcon Arrow on the floor, and then back in the ring, Hiromu hits a Dynamite Plunger for a 2 count. They go back and forth. Ishimori hits the double knees to the chest, then La Mystica into the Yes Lock. Hiromu avoids a bloody cross and hits a power bomb, and then a vertical face buster for a 2 count. Ishimori fights out of a time bomb, and Hiromu gives him the buckle driver and then a Death Valley driver, and then hits a time bomb and gets the 3 count. So Hiromu Takahashi has beaten the junior heavyweight champion right out of the gate, and this is what is making me think he might not win the tournament, because he's already lined up for a title shot by defeating the champion right here.
I still think that he is going to win the tournament and beat Ishimori again at the Tokyo Dome and get his belt back.
I'm curious how high Ishimori is going to land, if he's just going to barely get knocked out of the finals by somebody else.
Yeah, he's probably about like last year that he kind of misses it by one. Who is he? Hold on, I'm gonna look and see who he's wrestling on the last night.
It's probably gonna miss it by a tiebreaker, I'm guessing.
Probably. When Ishimori hit Hiromu with that pile driver on the apron, everybody broke the no yelling rule.
Yeah, there was, but it was probably like the safest pile driver Hiromu's taken, because his head wouldn't even have hit the canvas, because his head was actually out over empty space.
Exactly as I suspected. Taiji Ishimori's opponent on the final night is Sho.
Okay, and Sho's gonna win that match probably.
Mm-hmm.
So we might be looking at a Sho Hiromu.
And that was what we both called originally, and I still think that that's the direction.
All right, I think Sho's going to go over, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think Sho's probably going to lose his first one to Hiromu, and then he's going to win the last one. I haven't gone ahead, so I don't know if that happens or not. I don't know if that match has happened yet.
I don't think it has.
Yeah, so first night, a little bit of a drag. It kind of, went a little over 3 hours, cramming 10 matches into 3 hours, not giving them much time for a lot of these matches. It was a little rough watching, and then the last 3 matches made it a little bit more bearable, but the first few matches were not that great. But
Sho versus Hiromu, by the way, is December 2nd in Osaka.
Okay, so yeah, we got a little time to go.
But yeah, man, they went hard right out of the gate and beat the shit out of each other. This was a great main event between 2 great wrestlers. I think it exceeded the match they had at Jingu. They'll probably, because I'm still predicting that they're going to have a match at the Tokyo Dome, I think they'll have an even better match there.
I could see it going that Sho wins the Best of the Super Juniors, and loses on January 4th, and Hiromu then gets a shot on the 5th.
I could see that happening too. That's the other way they could go. I don't know what else I have here. Hiromu's so charismatic, so good. He's awesome. He's having a great tour.
Yes.
I hope he doesn't kill himself.
Yes. Night 2, we move on to Ishikawa, and this is November 16th, 2020. And as I mentioned, Gino's sound was a bazillion times better, so they figured out all that technical stuff. Got him a better mic, probably. I don't know. We start off the night with Yotasuji versus Gabriel Kidd. These two had a ton of matches during the G1. This was a continuance of that. Fine match. Yotasuji submits Gabriel Kidd with the full Boston Crab in the end.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen these guys wrestle each other in a good 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
They wrestled a good solid match, and they got aggressive with each other like they do. Kevin Kelly noted that David Finlay did give Yotasuji his C-Block trophy.
All right. So he got the little thumb.
That's important. That is the most important part.
The thumb that you can get a dozen for $12.99 on Amazon.
He fought hard for that thumb.
He did. Have you actually looked up the trophy? It's funny.
I think I've seen it, but it's like it would have been like last year or something. I remember seeing it last year.
Yeah. It's a great little, just has like a little black base with the golden thumb sitting on top of it. Yeah. Said, go you or something like that. Yeah. Then we have the first block match of the night, and we are World Tag League on this night, and it is Bullet Club versus Bullet Club, God versus Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale. This was a fun club versus club match. Both sides are using some underhanded tactics, and the other side is always incensed when they do. And Chase eats the barricade on the outside. God works on Chase for quite a while. He takes a lot of punishment. Fale gets tagged in eventually, gets his team a bit of a comeback, and then Chase gets tagged back in. Short recovery period, but he gets beat up some more. Chase avoids a...
Big Fale blew himself up making the comeback.
Right. Chase avoids a gun stun, but Jado gets involved and hits Chase in the back with a kendo stick. Tamatonga puts on a scorpion deathlock, and Chase taps out.
Yeah, random people using the Scorpion Deathlock these days, man. Tamatonga started this match by jumping a mile into the air and drop kicking Chase Owens in the face. It was beautiful. He really has found the fountain of youth. Chase Owens played babyface in peril in this match, which is not a role that he is typically positioned to play in New Japan.
What are you talking about? He always plays, well, he's always the in peril, maybe not necessarily the babyface.
Right. But Chase Owens was trained by Ricky Morton, the greatest babyface in peril in wrestling history. So he was awesome at it.
And I saw Chase Owens be a babyface in peril against Ricky Morton.
Really?
I was there for that match.
Oh, yeah, that was... I think I saw that match.
That was in Lowell last October.
Yeah.
In Lowell, Massachusetts. That match was so fun. But yes, yeah. Chase plays the in peril, not necessarily the babyface, but he's always in peril.
Yeah, he was. In some of these Hill versus Hill matches, he was kind of the de facto babyface, and especially since his partner was like he got a tag and made a comeback, and then tagged back out in like a minute. He must have been just blown up. Yeah, I wrote here Chase Owens was good in this match, and I'm going to write that in a lot of Chase Owens matches this tournament.
Chase Owens is always good in the match. Even though he's usually the one who's getting destroyed, he's always great at it.
But I think he needs a little something, man. I would maybe put him in contention for the Never title. I think he and Shingo could do some good stuff together.
That could be interesting. Yeah. I'd even throw him in a G1, maybe. Throw the guy a bone. Let's see what happens.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. He's really turned up his game, man. He's good.
Next up, we have Hirooki Goto and Yoshi-Hashi versus the Great Okan and Jeff Cobb of the Empire. And Cobb gives Yoshi-Hashi a few free shots and then just beats the crap out of Yoshi-Hashi. Khan gets tagged in, and Goto and Yoshi-Hashi double team him for a 2 count. Khan comes back, and Khan and Cobb get the heat on Yoshi-Hashi for a while. Goto gets a hot tag, takes out Khan, and then stands and trades with Cobb, who is the legal man at the time. Goto hits a running bulldog on Cobb for 2. Khan gets tagged in, gets Goto in the Tree of Woe, hits a sliding drop kick to the face. That looked brutal, gets a 2 count. Khan screams like a little girl, hitting a triplet of Mongolian chops. Goto and Yoshi-Hashi hit a leg sweep headhunter combo, and Cobb hits a pump handle suplex on both Yoshi-Hashi and Goto at the same time. One in each arm. A couple gut wrench suplexes to Goto. Goto pushes Khan into a super kick from Yoshi-Hashi, and Goto puts on, I believe it was the mousetrap, and gets the pin. So Goto and Yoshi-Hashi pick up their 2 points here over Cobb and Great Okan.
Yeah, Jeff Cobb was awesome in this match. I enjoyed the juxtaposition of this new and improved Yoshi-Hashi just firing up against the big foreign monster, and Cobb just beat his ass. And then they get the heat on Yoshi-Hashi, and it was great, and Goto got the hot tag and had a very lively exchange with Jeff Cobb. And I don't know if those two have had a singles match yet, but I need to see that right now.
Who?
Cobb and Goto.
I think they had one last year, but
they weren't in the same G1 block this year, but I don't remember last year. Yeah, all those matches start to run together after a while, but yeah, that's a battle that I want to see.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought this match was good. This whole night was much better than night 1, and great here. Again, Great Okan's looking a little better. He needs to stop screaming as much, but other than that, he looked better.
The screaming Mongolian chops are by far the most interesting thing the Great Okan does.
It's the only time he doesn't look bored.
Before we move on to the next match, we have to mention Jushin Thunder Liger's cardigan. My God, the man has style.
I didn't even know. When he was wearing a cardigan at ringside?
Oh, yes. He's sitting there doing commentary with his mask and the cardigan. Kevin and Gino were talking about it, and I just popped for it. And he was wearing like a regular sweater the next night, and I was, I love casual Liger.
That's great. That's very funny. Next up, we had Finn Juice versus Yujiro Takahashi and Evil. Finn Juice work over Yujiro for a while. Juice body slams Finlay onto Yujiro for a 2 count. Juice asks, "Do you like that, bitch?" Which I thought was hilarious. Juice has the funniest in-ring commentary running through the matches. He swears a lot, which is always entertaining as well. Double bulldog to Yujiro for 2 count. Then shenanigans ensue from Evil and Dick Togo. Evil throws Finlay into the barricade, knocks over the ring announcer again. Dick Togo removes a turnbuckle pad while this is going on. Yujiro and Evil get the heat on David Finlay for a while. Finlay gets sent into the exposed turnbuckle. Juice gets a tag, hits a bunch of jabs, then a DDT, knocks Evil off the apron for good measure. And then Evil runs in. Juice gives him a suplex and a senton and rolls back out of the ring. That was not worth the coming in for him. Robinson goes for a juice box, but Yujiro rakes the eyes to get out. Evil and Finlay get tags, and Finlay gets the best of Evil here, hits a over-the-top rope cross body. Finjuice hit a heart attack, and Yujiro has to break up the pin. Togo causes a distraction. Evil uses a chair on Finlay. Doesn't end up doing much, though. Finjuice hit some double team on both guys, and then Evil kicks out of a pin after a lariat leg sweep combo. a lot of leg sweep combos in this tournament that I've seen so far. And Finlay hits a stunner on Evil, Yujiro, and Dick Togo for a good measure. Evil pushes Finlay toward the ref. Evil low blow hits Everything is Evil for the win. And again, this finish is getting really old.
Gino said exactly what I've been saying since July. Why is anyone surprised that a man named Evil betrayed his friends? His name is Evil, his move is evil, his mantra is everything is evil. Of course he's a bad guy. This was good. They didn't do too much of the Bullet Club bullshit. David Finlay was awesome in this match, and then he fell victim to the evil bullshit.
Yeah, that was kind of a bummer. I don't even know what else to say about this match. It's just, yeah, it's like every time that happens, it's like, oh, this just drags down my excitement for the match. And now
I'm sick of Evil doing the, like, either lose or win a freaking match clean here and there.
Right? Like, that gives him, like, zero credibility that he can never win clean. So it's like, okay, you're awful. You're not even like, at least a lot of, high level heels win matches clean once in a while. Evil has not done that in a long time, it seems.
He has not won a single match clean, like, since the freaking end of the New Japan Cup, has he?
Probably not. I don't think so. Next up, we have Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano versus Shingo Takagi and Sanada. Ichii and Shingo opposing each other is always a good time. Sanada and Yano actually started off. Yano goes right for a corner pad, and Yano really incompetently tries a paradise lock. Sanada locks it on Yano for a bit of show and tell here. He uses the corner pad to free Yano, so he just swings it and hits him in the rear end with it. On the outside, Yano rolls up Sanada into the ring apron to make him answer a 20 count, which he does. Funny, they secure their ring apron a little differently than other places. They use Velcro, whereas a lot of places use kind of a tension and a line, or errors just happen because they needed it for this. I'm guessing not. I'm guessing they always use Velcro. They have a forearm battle, Shingo and Ishii, that is. They basically beat the crap out of each other for a while. Yano trips Shingo and snaps him across the top rope for Ishii to hit a German suplex. Shingo and Sanada eventually make a comeback, doing some double teams on Yano, and then Sanada rolls up Yano with the O'Connor Bridge and gets the victory.
Yeah, anytime Ishii and Shingo were forearming each other in the face, I'm having a good time. Shingo and Sanada starting to gel as a team. I had a good match here. The freaking count out tease with the ring apron was insightful. Like I feel like they should have saved that for a time that Yano was going to win, because that was a good finish. That was on the scale of Yano finishes. That was a good finish.
I think it would have been. Yeah, so I think here, but if he wants to finish with it, I think sometime he should rip it off, lay it on the ground, and then burrito the guy afterwards. Then it'd be or and then like tie him up in it if he needed, or tape it shut for good measure, something like that. I think that would be a good one that you can use. Yana, you can take that if you're listening. Then next up we have Toa Henare and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi. All these non-English names are causing tongue twisters to me, and I'm managing to work through them here. Tanahashi and Henare work a double crab on Zack Sabre Jr., and then they do one on Taichi. Taichi wraps up Tanahashi in the barricade to work on his knee, hits it with a chair. The Dangerous Techers keep working on Tanahashi's knee for quite a long time. Tanahashi finally hits a dragon screw on Zack Sabre Jr.'s injured knee and gets a tag out to Henare. He takes out both of the Dangerous Techers, takes control for a bit over Taichi. Then Henare and Taichi have an exchange of kicks until they both go down. And then they take out Tanahashi with the holy Zack driver, and then a bit of back and forth with Taichi and Henare until they hit Zack Mephisto and get the 3 count. So Dangerous Techers are up 4 points here.
Yeah, much as everyone expected, they destroyed the shit out of Tanahashi's knee. This is what this was here for. Henare made an awesome hot tag. I like this team of Henares now that they've had a real match. You know, with Tanahashi selling and Henare making that comeback, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I think I had the impression when this was over that the guys in the tag league saw the Super Junior matches the night before and thought, shit, we better start working.
Probably. I have not watched past night 3, so I can't tell you how night 4 goes. So
it's good. It's
good. Better. All right, cool. So that wraps it up for night 2. And then we move on to night 3, which was November 18th, 2020 in Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. And they're there for at least like 2 more shows, I believe. And this actually starts off the night with Satoshi Kojima and Tomoaki Honma versus Gabriel Kidd and Yuji Nagata. So we do not have the Young Lion versus Young Lion match here to kick off the show. This was a fine match. Nothing special. Gabriel Kidd eats the pin after a lariat from Kojima.
Yeah, Nagata and Kojima went just hard enough to remind you that the 3rd generation can still go. Okay, listen to this line, because I have already copied and pasted it onto the next 2 opening matches, and I assume, looking at the schedule, that I'm going to do it on almost every show this tour. They had a good little tag match, then Kojima killed the Young Lion with a lariat for the pin.
Sounds good. So they continue having Kojima on the opening matches?
Yeah, it's a lot of like Kojima and Honma against some combination of Uemura and Kidd and Tsuji. Yeah. So yeah, they're going to be in a lot.
Uemura actually does some openers when he's in the Best of Super Juniors.
Oh, that's got to be a mistake.
It's probably Yoda, Tsuji, and Gabriel Kidd mixing in and out.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at 3 different shows. They have listed Nagata, Kojima, and Honma against Tsuji, Uemura, and Gabriel Kidd. I'm going to check the New Japan site and see if that's right.
Interesting.
So yeah, that can't be right.
Yeah.
I think it was probably just a mistake.
That might have been the before Kanemaru was called out of the match.
Okay, yeah, you're probably right about that. Yeah, that's the most logical explanation.
Then we start off with our block matches for the night. Best of the Super Juniors here on night 3. Bushi and Yuya Uemura. Uemura comes right out of the gate with a shoulder block, 3 pin attempts in a row, a body slam, and then puts on the Boston Crab. It would have been amazing if he actually got the win over Bushi, but I don't think that's going to happen. Bushi takes control for a bit. He puts on a really high angle Boston Crab. Uemura eventually gets to the ropes. I thought he might even get the tap really early here. Uemura makes an aggressive comeback with some strikes, but he keeps selling the back from the Boston Crab. Uemura hits a heavy drop kick to Bushi in the corner, puts on a Boston Crab of his own to Bushi. Bushi gets to the ropes. And then the 2 of them have a striking battle. Bushi hits a drop kick and then a swinging neck breaker. Uemura hits a drop kick of his own and then a German suplex. And Bushi fights out of a double overhook suplex. Then Bushi hits 2 code breaker variations in a row and gets the pin. So Bushi picks up his first 2 points here.
Yeah, but Uemura went hard and fast trying to catch Bushi off balance. Good, hard-fought match. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who do you think's going to win when Uemura faces Douki?
Oh, I assume Douki.
That's like the one match for both of them in this tournament where it could go either way.
Yeah.
I think Uemura is going to pin somebody in this tournament. I feel he's going to pin somebody in this tournament.
It would elevate him if they did, so...
He's so freaking good.
Next up, we have what is probably Master Wato's best match that I've seen him in so far versus Robbie Eagles. And this might actually say more about Robbie Eagles than anything, because he had an excellent match the first night as well. Who did he face with Douki, right, on the first night?
Yes.
So I mean,
Robbie, awesome.
Yeah, so Robbie Eagles might be the common denominator here, and he can carry some good matches. They start off with some chain wrestling. Wato connects with some kicks and elbows, and actually, Eagles throughout this match was calling him Kawato.
Yes,
he was calling him by his name, and he was kind of playing a light heel role as well throughout this match, doing a little few heelish things here and there, but no heel like tactics, just more in mannerisms and whatnot. Eagles hits a flying head scissors and hits a flip dive through the second rope. Usually when you see a flip, it's over the top rope, but no, he went between the middle and top rope to do the flip. It's like,
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
wow.
It's like, okay, that means your feet have to clear that top rope before you get into that part of the flip. It was crazy. He just and he went flying too. He was moving a million miles an hour, pushes the barricade back at least 3 feet. Eagle starts to work over the knee of Wato, and Wato hits a corkscrew dive. Eagles barely broke his fall because he went way far out, and Wato basically slammed onto the exposed floor and the barricade. He looked like he was okay, though. Back in the ring, Wato hits a springboard twisting uppercut for a 2 count. Jump knee strike for a 2 count, and then Wato dropped Eagles when they were doing a sunset flip spot. It almost looked like he was doing a, what is that called? Basically it's sort of like the bastard driver, but around the back instead of the front. I don't know.
I can visualize what you're saying.
Or maybe it is a bastard driver. Bastard driver's around back, right? When the guy's behind the back and the Big Bang Theory.
No, I think the bastard driver goes the other way.
Now I can't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's around the back.
Yeah, the one I understand a lot of things about wrestling. I have dedicated a lot of effort to learning booking and psychology and things like that. I'm a fat, unathletic turd, and I cannot process the physics of what they do in the ring.
So I think Wato accidentally gave Eagles a bastard driver while he was doing a sunset flip, but Eagles just kind of played through. Eagles locks on the Ron Miller special. Wato gets to the ropes. They exchange forearms and then a ton of kicks to each other until both guys drop. Eagles eventually hits a drop kick to the knee. He catches a Wato kick and hits a turbo backpack. Eagle goes for the 450 splash, but Wato gets his knees up. And then gives Eagles, what was that? That move?
Spiral tap. He calls it the RPP, which I don't know what it means, but it's AJ Styles' old spiral tap.
There you go. The RPP gets the pin. So Wato picks up a victory here over Robbie Eagles, and I believe that moves Wato to 4 points, and Eagles remains here at 2.
Yeah, I just love that move. So Master Wato always gets over with me. That was the move that AJ Styles in the early days of TNA when he was the X Division guy. That would be his big top rope finish, and then I think the year that he won the world title at Bound for Glory from Bully Ray or whatever, I think that was probably the last time that he broke out the spiral tap. But yeah, cool. Yeah, that was Master Wato needs to do something to get attention on himself. So yeah, him doing the spiral tap as a finish gets over with me.
Next up, we have what I thought was actually a pretty good match here, and that was Douki versus Sho. Douki attacks before the bell, but Sho is pretty much unfazed, but eventually they get onto the outside. Sho gets run into the barricade a couple times. Then Douki grabs the pipe that he brought to the ring. The ref goes to take it away. Douki pushes the ref down. How is that not a DQ? Gives Sho a neckbreaker using the pipe, so now we might have a pattern. I hope I don't see this spot again, but I'm guessing I'm going to. Match pretty much goes back and forth for a while. Sho hits a brutal power breaker, only gets a 2 count. Douki gets on the Italian stretch, and Sho does an amazing sell job about almost getting choked out. Like, his eyes just looked like they're going to roll into the back of his head. It looked like he had dead eyes for a second, and but he manages to garner some energy and get to the ropes. Douki hits a slingshot DDT for a 2 count. Sho fights out of a suplex de la Luna, and Sho hits a really high angle German suplex, straight jacket pile driver, shock arrow, and Sho gets the 3 count. So Douki drops his first 2, and Sho picks up his points right here. Does that put him at, I forget how his 4 points?
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, because you pretty much do play-by-play, and I just kind of chime in with a bit of color, so I don't take extremely detailed play-by-play notes. So I always kind of watch, like, I only write down maybe, like, you know, a few spots that really grab my attention at significant points in the match. So I always listen to see, you know, how you react to those two. It's just, you know, entertaining to see that we notice the same things, just kind of with a different emphasis. Douki jumping Sho to start. It didn't work, but I enjoyed Kevin and Gino telling entertaining stories about Douki getting tortured by Minoru Suzuki. I wondered, but, like, I bet, like, you think Minoru Suzuki just beats the shit out of Douki for losing the fall in all those tag matches,
right?
So Douki got Sho in the Italian stretch, and Sho gave him 2 power bombs and a power breaker to break it. That was awesome. Then Sho went for the shock arrow, and Douki countered it back into the Italian stretch in a spot that looked awesome. And yeah, Sho did a really good tease of going out to that. And then Douki got some near falls, and Sho came back and went with the shock arrow. This was very good. I think I would have liked it better if the result had ever been in doubt for a second, but this was very good.
It was. Next up, we have Ryusuke Taguchi versus Taiji Ishimori, and a little bit of a bummer. I'm kind of hoping that Taguchi gets one main event on this show, but I don't think he is, because does he get one?
5.
Oh, he does?
Against Master Wato, and it's not great.
Oh, okay. Taguchi asks for a handshake. That's a no-go from him. Taguchi starts dancing to the claps of the crowd, and Taiji Ishimori is like, yeah, not having that, and he just rolls out to the outside. But eventually the match gets started. This was a good back and forth. Taguchi holds his own against the junior heavyweight champion. Taguchi hit 2 out of the 3 amigos, but he ends up hitting a reverse DDT right after that. Hits the Bumaye and a gourd buster. Ishimori gets on the yes lock, though. And then Taichi gets to the ropes. Ishimori hits a shotgun drop kick to the corner, double knees in the corner, drop double knees to the chest. Taguchi avoids a bloody cross, locks in the ankle locks, goes for Dodon. Ishimori rolls through Taiji. Taguchi reverses it like he did in his previous match, but Ishimori reverses it again and pretty much pantses Taguchi with a handful of tights. We see a lot of bare ass from Taguchi, but Ishimori gets the victory.
Yeah, Taguchi walked around dejected with his bum hanging out. But this was good. Big match Taguchi on form. Ishimori, fantastic as always. They had a very good match with a little bit of a silly finish, and yeah, we'll talk more about that in the next show. Getting to be a little too much silliness with Taguchi after a very promising start in the tournament.
All right, we will see on that. And then we had a excellent match, and really this is kind of where I'm starting to turn it around for Desperado in my mind here, where I'm becoming a big fan of his. So Hiromu Takahashi versus Desperado here in the main event on night 3. They start out with a couple collar elbow lockups, and then all hell breaks loose. And Hiromu runs Desperado into the barricade 3 times on the outside. They brawl in the ring, back out of the ring. They throw each other into the barricade a bunch of times. Then they just go to smacking the crap out of each other while the ref is counting. They pause for a second to break the 20 count at 19, go right back outside. Desperado hits a massive dive at one point. Hiromu has to answer the 20 count here. And then while that's happening, Desperado channels his inner Yano and removes a corner pad. When Hiromu gets back into the ring from that 20 count, he goes right into the exposed turnbuckle. Desperado starts to work on Hiromu's leg, and Desperado maintains control for quite a while, working on the knee quite a lot. Hiromu hits a dynamite plunger, then an overhead throw into the corner, which looked a lot nicer than the one that he did to Ishimori the previous time. They continue to trade offense. Hiromu hits a vertical face buster. Desperado gets a spine buster and locks in numero dos. Hiromu gets to the ropes. Hiromu gets out of a pinche loco attempt. They have a striking exchange. Another pinche loco attempt. Hiromu hits a buckle driver into the exposed corner, and then Red Shoes gets squashed into the exposed turnbuckle when Hiromu was pushed into him by Desperado. Desperado kicks Hiromu right in the balls, goes to the outside, grabs a chair, bashes Hiromu's knee 3 times with it, throws the chair out of the ring, gets the arouses the ref, throws him in, locks on numero dos, locks up both arms, and Hiromu has to verbally submit to El Desperado. And El Desperado picks up the win here, and both of those guys now sit at 2 points after the first 2 nights.
Yeah, I have to correct myself first. I made a mistake a while ago. Taguchi and Wato is not the main event of Night 5. It's just the last match that I watched because I haven't finished that show yet.
All right.
This match was awesome. They got violent with each other. Hiromu's so awesome. Just incredible charisma and star presence. He's not like a naturally smooth wrestler, but he is a guy who does not give a shit about destroying his body, which, is to both his credit and his detriment. Despy did some good knee work to soften up Hiromu for the stretch muffler. They chopped the shit out of each other a bunch. Despy went for Pinche Loco at one point, but Hiromu countered into a Frankensteiner. That looked sweet. Hiromu got all the shit in, and they did some more stuff. And I really like the finish. He did a lot of good knee work, and attacked his chair with a knee, attacked his knee with a chair, and put him in the stretch muffler. And it just the verbal tap out just kind of made it. Poor. This band, the match was good.
Yeah, that's like a twist of the knife when you have to verbally submit and you can't even just tap. So far, what do you think about? We've had 2 block matches on both tournaments. The Super Juniors seem to be picking up a bit. The World Tag League has been okay so far. The first night for both were kind of a little rough out of the gate, but they picked it up at the end.
The first night was rough because they had to cram. It was so bizarre to me when I looked at the time, like, oh my god, I haven't seen a 3-hour New Japan show in so long. It was a lot, a lot of shit. But they were still like some good stuff on night 1, man. Hiromu and Ishimori, the God against Finjuice match, Taguchi, like the top half of the card is like watch from Douki to Robbie Eagles on. Some of the tag matches I wasn't into on night 1, and there's still some kind of desultory matches going on, but they have really picked it up subsequently, and I think it's not G1 quality, but it's 2 very enjoyable round robin tournaments happening at the same time.
Yeah, it's not the strongest lineup on either of them. You're looking at Best of the Super Juniors first year in quite a while without Will Ospreay, so that's definitely a huge change. Shingo moved up to heavyweight, so he was just in that 1 G1 when he first came into New Japan. So you have a lot of talent that just is not in this tournament.
Yeah, well, it's it's still the ongoing situation in the world makes it a challenge. I feel like they're probably glad that they managed to get the talent in that they did, But yeah, this is, it's a leaner year because everything is leaner this year. But on the scale of pro wrestling in 2020, I'm quite enjoying myself.
I am still liking that they are not doing like 4 undercard matches before blocks.
Yeah, I know you want to give guys bookings and whatnot, but like we don't need those undercard tag matches. We really don't.
Not for when you're doing tournaments, but I mean you have plenty of road shows, plenty of those shows that really don't have a ton of implications. So it's like, okay, go out and do those. When the pandemic's over, you could always run a team, B team, and send out the other guys to do, a house show on the same night as a block or whatever elsewhere. They don't need to be there. You could do that if you want to get some reps in for some of those guys, or work with once everything's opened up and they can move around the world, then they can send their people, okay, we're doing the G1 this month, so everybody who would normally be on the undercard, go to the UK, go to the United States, go to Mexico, go wrestle there for the month while we have this tournament, because it makes it so much easier to watch when these shows come in around 2 hours and 15 minutes versus way too long. And it's like, I started skipping all those undercard matches like after the first G1 where I watched the entire thing, and I'm like, because they don't really play tons. Sometimes you'll just go to the finish just to pick up maybe if a little storyline thing happened, but yeah.
I would typically, I would only watch them if I was like caught up or ahead. I would watch them, but just trying to get the tournament matches, I would skip all that.
Yeah. So far so good. Kevin Kelly said that they're planning on getting the English added day of. So we should see less than a 24-hour turnaround, I believe, on the English shows. So hopefully we can stay caught up closer to than the G1. The G1 was running usually about 3 days late. So hopefully they are running a bit closer to current now, and I will work on getting right up to date as best we can, and stay tuned to the channel so when those shows are going to be live, so you can come hang out with us. But anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up here?
We have up to night 5 in English already, and so I think there was a show today that's not up yet, but yeah, they seem to be doing it at a good clip this year.
Yep. All right. So thanks for watching and listening, everybody, to That's Wrestling. Be sure to tune in on the YouTube channel if you're listening. This is a podcast because we do these shows live, so you can come hang out, ask questions, comment, feedback, all that fun stuff in the chat. We also have a Discord server. You can come hang out with us there. The link is in the show notes and description. Comment, question, feedback. You can send those to Eric at that'swrestling.com. You can also pick up the RSS feed over there at that'swrestling.com as well. At That's Wrestling 1 on Twitter. That was the number 1 at the end. I should contact the guy who has the That's Wrestling handle to see if he hasn't touched it since like 2012, so I can see if he can give it to me.
Also at Wrestling Clio, CLIO.
Yes, for Trae there. So yes, for Trae Wisecarver, my name's Eric LaRoche, and you've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.